All right, everyone. Back. Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Full-time Everton 0, Newcastle United 2. Absolutely disgraceful performance that from minute one. Just looked B-League at best. It was awful. We'll wait to get a few viewers in, Paul, so that you're not repeating yourself, because do not want to repeat yourself after a game like that. Absolutely rubbish. Full-time whistles just blew. Me and Paul will be live for about half an hour-ish, something like that, talking about trying to sum up that. I mean, first half, you'd just say, oh, that was the most boring game I've ever watched. The second half, genuinely awful, weren't we?
Awful, but I know they weren't helped by the referee having like a career-ending performance. If the referees organisation wasn't a cartel, that didn't help. But it's not an excuse, because there were several players out there who were just outright disgraceful, and there's a few players out there who it boggles my mind how they even still get in the Everton team when Carlo Ancelotti is the manager. A couple of them out there are in really poor form, and I don't want to be too horrible on them because I think they can come good again. But there's a couple out there you just think, how are you still at this club? And if you are, and when you are at this club, how are you not cleaning the toilets? Because that's the only thing you should be allowed to do.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to name and shame players, guys. We're not going to beat around the bush at all. We're just going to name and shame the players we thought were awful. Let's just go through the team. I just want to get your impression. Callum Wilson's just come up on my screen there as well on BT. Got to say, Callum Wilson was fantastic today. Hats off to him. We'll talk about him later. But we'll go through the team. Pickford, Paul, wasn't as bad as normal, but what do you think of Pickford?
He made that save in the first half, which was really good, but maybe it's just me. I think he's got to do better for Wilson's first goal. I think his feet were all over the place. He's a goalkeeper who's not the tallest. Why he's leaving such a massive side of his net gaping like that? Any header that was aimed at that corner, he was always going to struggle to get to. So I just think that was poor. He needs to get his read the ball coming into the box better than that. But overall, it's not his fault we've lost that game. There's other players who need shaming well before him.
Yeah, of course. Luca D, I personally, I would have liked Ben Godfrey to go to left back and put Luca D a bit further forward, because we had absolutely nothing going forward in that game.
Dean was below par. A lot of his crosses just were not coming off all day, and by the final 20 minutes or so, he was just basically giving them back possession every time he tried to put it in the area for them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be too harsh on him, because he was the only player we were going to create anything. He shouldn't be. The amount of talent we have out there on the pitch, why is he the only person who's trying to get the ball into the striker? It's insane. How come no one? There's so many other players out there whose job it is to cut Newcastle open, and every time they all just kept running down blind alleys, picking passes that were never on, or just hitting out wide, saying, "Yeah, you have it. I can't think of anything else to do. You try and create something." So it wasn't great by his usual standards, but he wasn't helped by his teammates not chipping in with their own share of creativity.
The two centre backs were doing one. Yerry Mina and Michael Keane. How do you think they played?
Just average, not too good, not too bad.
Yeah. Run of the mill is the word for that performance from the centre backs.
Neither one of them did anything horrific, but they weren't as good as they were against Leicester, and they weren't hitting the levels that we've gotten used to the last couple of weeks. I'd probably drop one of them and bring Holgate back in for the next game. Holgate and Godfrey, both of them, if not one of them.
Yeah. And then next, obviously, the saddest one today, Seamus Coleman.
I said it in the pre-match. I just think he's washed up. I think he's finished as a player. I know a lot of people have got time for him.
It's obvious, and he can absolutely obvious.
He can still put in
from minute one
decent potential showing here and there, but he's entering Phil Neville territory now, where you just feel sad for him.
Yeah.
You think you don't belong out there. You need to be wound.
He gets the ball
right down.
Yeah, he gets the ball, looks forward, turns back, and passes it to Yerry Mina. That's basically Seamus Coleman's game plan today, and I'm sorry, but he's finished. Right back is a must sign in the summer. I think right back is probably our most needed position at the moment because Hull can play there till the end of the season, but he was absolutely awful today, Seamus Coleman. We'll go through the midfield. Decore, what do you think of Decore?
Was playing deeper than he usually does. I thought he was all right in the first half. The second half, though, his levels just dropped off massively, and he ended up being really sloppy on the ball. Should have done better when they countered. There was a few times they caught us out. Wilson's chance where he missed when it was still 0-0. Decore was not getting back quick enough for me. Again, yeah, just levels dropped off, and it's unacceptable. He needs to be playing far, far better than that, and especially considering that he didn't play during the week. You can't even argue to say he was tired. I just think he was resting on his laurels a bit there today.
Iwobi.
Iwobi was a bit unlucky, I felt. I didn't think he was really, really bad. He just didn't get on the ball enough. But when he was on the ball, especially in the first half, he was looking to link up with people and get in behind. I don't think he should have come off. I thought he was one of the players who was actually, other than Digne, who we were actually going to and hoping he could do something with it. So when we took him off, we just lost the creative outlet. So I don't know what Carlo's thinking was there, but Iwobi, I think, was doing all right. Maybe he wasn't fit enough to do the full 90. We don't know. He's coming back off that injury. They'll know more about that than we do. But the way the game was going, I think bringing him off was a really bad decision.
Sigurdsson.
Mate, he's robbing a wage. He's robbing a wage, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want him here in Everton. I've wanted him gone, thrown out on his arse since Anfield last season. He's pathetic. He's an absolute non-entity of a player. And just because he has the odd game where he scores a goal doesn't mean that he's got any future at this club and he should be part of the manager's, even his short-term plans. He's not good enough. His legs have gone. He doesn't bust the gut to try hard, like you can say Coleman at least tries to do, even though he's on the way down. I can't stand Gylfi Sigurdsson. And when I saw that he was starting and he was going to be playing in the number 8 midfield role, I just got a really bad feeling, thinking that I think they're going to overpower us in midfield here and they're going to win all the 50-50s. And lo and behold, that happened. We've got a playmaker, or supposed playmaker, who can't pass. He can't. How many times was he selling players short or giving the ball away or not getting them looking up quickly to notice that he was man-marked? He was the worst player on the pitch, I think, by an absolute mile. And I can't think now of how many performances he's had over the past 2 seasons where you think that should be a career ender at this club. That should be the level of performance where you can't come back from that. You need to be moved on, put in the reserves, and never playing again. There's other players who've been turfed out for less than what he's done, far less. And I don't get what Ancelotti's loyalty is to him. Maybe he gets on with him behind the scenes, but if you're not going to contribute to the first team in any meaningful way, you shouldn't be here. And he hasn't contributed to the first team in any meaningful way for the past 2 seasons, if not longer than that. He was, for all the stick Balassi gets, worst big money buy ever. For me, Sigurdsson is by far the worst big money buy we've ever got, because he's £50 million and he hasn't played. How many games he played for Everton now? At least 2/3 of the games he's played for Everton, he's been really, really poor, if not shocking. Yeah. And for me, how many times is he going to have to go out there, not even sweat, basically, and he's back in the team as if not in the next week? I want him gone ASAP. It's Bernard's going, Towson's going. They offer more to this team than Sigurdsson does, and they're getting turfed out. And you can't tell me that we can't ship Sigurdsson because there's been no good interest in him. I'm sure that if we made him available, we could get him a move somewhere. I want him gone. He's a disgraceful player. He's a wage robber.
100%. Rodriguez, what do you think of Rodriguez today?
Really poor. I know he was kicked about quite a lot, but I thought by the last half an hour he was just starting to feel sorry for himself and frowning and going down. And
I agree with that.
Probably trying to do too much. He was calling for the ball and then losing it cheaply. He was just getting frustrated. But at the end of the day, you're a Galactico. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be getting on nerves just because some yard dog team's kicking you about. I just thought he let them get to him, and he shouldn't do that. He was really poor, really poor.
Richarlison, rubbish again, wasn't he?
Who, sorry? Richarlison.
Richarlison.
Yeah, he's just caught. Yeah, he's just caught in a funk. I don't know what it is. He's in really poor form, and he's one of those ones I was talking about earlier on where I wouldn't throw him in the bin or cascade him too much, because I do think he'll come good again eventually, and he is a player who is worth showing patience to. But whatever mood he's in, whatever it is that's up with him, he's got to sort it out, because at the moment he doesn't belong in our best 11. And I never thought I'd be saying that a couple of months ago, but Richarlison, he was so poor again, and someone needs to sit him down and basically get in his head and find out what the issue is, because I'm not having it that he's annoyed at himself because he's maybe he's had his head turned, maybe he's had an offer and he doesn't want to be here anymore. Because if he plays like that, who's going to want to take him off us?
No. Calvert-Lewin.
Felt sorry for him the most. He got no service other than Dini's rubbish crosses all day. What's he meant to do if we can't get the ball to him? No, Rodriguez wasn't getting close to him. He was starting to...
didn't have any service at all.
Yeah. James was dropping too deep to try and get on the ball and couldn't link up with him. Iwobi wasn't getting enough of the ball, I don't think, to feed him. Sigurdsson was an absolute non-entity. He wasn't playing him in. Dean's crossing game wasn't on it. And Coleman, we know, is finished and can't even get up the line to put anything in the final third. So I felt sorry for him. He must be pulling his hair out thinking, I've got myself fully fit and I was banging all these goals in a couple of months ago, and everyone must think that I'm rubbish now because I've gone through this drought. It's not my fault. I'm still there to finish the chances and they just get them to me.
Yeah, we'll read a few comments out. As bad as Richarlison has been in the last couple of weeks, in the last couple of games, he was the only player who was willing to try to drive at the weak Newcastle defence. I think at times he looked like he wanted to grab it by the scruff of the neck. I think he's just so low on confidence, he struggled with it. And, we've spoke about him. I think someone does need to get inside his head and find out what's wrong with him. Thanks everyone who's joining the stream so far. Leave your questions down below for me and Paul. We'll try and answer as many as we can. Jab says we need to buy players, and Brand says no. No, I don't think it's anything to do with Marcel Brands. I don't think Marcel Brands is at all to blame for that performance out there today. I think that team's played well so many times this season. We were just awful today, and I think that's down to the players on the pitch. Absolutely no way you can blame Marcel Brands for that. Yeah, we probably should have signed someone in January, but me and Paul have said so many times on these pre-matches and post-matches that the financial fair play with the amount of players we've already got in the squad, we're not going to be allowed to do that.
Based on that today, though, mate, we need to sort something out. Based on what we've just seen, mate, we can't be going the rest of the season with that team, otherwise we won't achieve anything. We've got to try and sort a loan out and get a player in, because there's too many players who are out of form, and there's too many players who just absolutely shouldn't be here. And it's tragic that they are here and they are involved. We've got hope to God that we can pull something out of the hat and we can bring a loan deal in for a player who can make some sort of difference. Because we are selling some players, Bernard, Tosin. We're getting some wages off the wage bill. Hopefully that will free something up so they can do something. Hopefully, just get someone in the door. Whether it's going back to Xerxes, whether
I hope so.
It's too late now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If they are 100% serious and they're not planning on doing any business at all in terms of getting players in, like they're not even going to try, then that's really, really depressing.
This team is crying out for someone to come in with pace, with power, and grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We're dying for a really, just an impact maker, really, aren't we?
I saw a stat the other day on Twitter, and it blew my mind. When was the last time we actually had a player who came off the bench and scored in a league game? The only two I can think of this season,
exactly,
in any game, was Decore in the cup a few weeks ago, and maybe was it Moise Keane came off the bench and scored in the cup against Fleetwood at the beginning of the campaign, right before he left for PSG. But
I think it was.
We don't have anything off the bench. We've just been throwing Tosin on, and who doesn't do anything. And now even he's going now, so we don't even have. We can't even throw him on and hope for anything. we don't have anything off the bench. If the first 11 I can't do anything, then basically the game's out the window for us. It's so just annoying and makes you so angry that the squad is just so weak.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Paul. Jabs is making a couple of good comments there. What that team with Alan? Yeah, I think we do miss Alan, don't we?
Yeah, we miss Alan, but even without Alan, we should be beating Newcastle United at home. The same Newcastle.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
The same Newcastle who, if their owner wasn't such a stingy ass, would have sacked the manager weeks ago. Didn't pick up a point going into 2021, and have had their best player injured for months and not even fit enough to start the game. It was just a disgrace. Every one of them should be ashamed of themselves. Some more than others. Some should just give themselves a slap around the head and get the form back, or whatever it takes to get them playing to the normal level. And there's some players who should be thrown out on their ass, who we've mentioned, and they should have been thrown out on their ass well over a year ago. And I'm just disgusted that they're still here, getting game time.
Yeah. Thomas is in the chat. Hello to Thomas. Thomas will have is the Toffee Blues who filled you in with all of the horrible job of keeping you up to date with the game on Twitter today. He says it's a long old season, shocking performance today, but there's still at least 20 twists. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Tom. I think this is a weird season, this one. There's so many twists to come between now and the end. I think we're having this probably is going to put us into a bit of bad form, similar to what we had a few months ago, and then we came out of it. We were playing better. I don't feel like any team's going to be consistent this season. I can't think of a team that's been consistent. Can you, Paul?
No, not really. But I'm not interested in any sort of excuse making for those players out there today. Oh well, they'll turn it around. They'll play well in a couple of weeks. No, that's the type of performance where there needs to be like an inquest of some kind. There needs to be certain players sat down in the office and either read the riot act or told, clear your locker out because you're shit and you don't belong here and you're not playing a game between now and the day you leave.
Yeah. James Brinkley, with the squad being so thin, what can we do? He even seems to be reluctant to let Gordon have a few minutes, even though our wingers have been below average all year. What do you think of that, Paul? Because I wanted to see Anthony Gordon in a half-time, personally.
Well, I think Gordon's be well within his rights to go into Ancelotti. And I know he's a young player and Ancelotti's who he is, but I think he'd be well within his rights to go in on Monday and say to Ancelotti, why can't I have any minutes when you're giving minutes to the likes of Sigurdsson, when you're giving minutes to the likes of Gomez, when you're giving likes of minutes to Davis? And what do they do that I'm not capable of doing? I'd make more of an impact than they do. Yeah, he'd be well. If that was me, I'd be knocking on the door saying, why aren't I getting an opportunity? Why are these players getting opportunities above me when they go out every week pretty much and just embarrass themselves and play well below what's required? Why can't I have a chance?
Mm-hmm. And it looks now like Bernard's going to be moving on as well. So hopefully he comes and, maybe shows him a bit more game time. But I think I agree with you there, Paul, that Anthony Gordon's well within his rights to be pretty annoyed with that today. Why he being the only attack on the bench didn't even get a sniff at the end of the game.
Look at it in any other instance, like in any sort of just any job that you had, where if you were on the shop floor or in the office with somebody and one of your colleagues was just effing everything up and you were having to clean up all their mess, yet the person who's in charge, the manager or the supervisor, was letting them away with it and pulling you for the smallest things, you'd go up and you'd say, hang on, why is he getting better treatment than I am? What am I doing? What's he doing that I'm not capable of doing? It's not fair. It's really not fair. And I think Gordon, I'd think an awful lot of him if he did go into Ancelotti or the coaching staff or whoever and calmly but firmly make his point of, I think I deserve some more minutes here. Either let me have some more minutes or send me out on loan because I'm not sitting here behind the likes of Sigurdsson and sitting behind the likes of Gomez when you come on and you offer absolutely nothing. If you want to die on that hill, fair enough, but I'm not sitting here playing second fiddle for the likes of them.
Matty Flynn Says, shocking, really, just the way the league is going. Heard people on the radio questioning Ancelotti, which is just stupid. Watch us beat Leeds next week. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past us. I wouldn't put it past us beating Leeds now with that performance today. You never know what's going to happen. My dad made a good point, telling me halfway through the game, we're more set up to play away from home than we are at home.
Well, that's not great. To be honest, you should be set up to play at home and then set up to play away as well. You want to do anything in this league. If we're not a team that's down the bottom, just looking to scrap the points, where you think, all right, we'll try and win these games and we'll just see what we can get out of these games. There's no league game there's no team in the league, home or away, we should be looking at thinking, just absolutely forget that because we've got no chance. It needs to be sorted out. We need to find a way to play at home when we're not at full strength and teams are just going to sit in and make it open for us, maybe be a bit nasty and kick us. That's something that they need to sort out.
We've got a pretty deep fixtures in the league. Man United away, Tottenham in the cup, Fulham at home, Liverpool away, Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Burnley at home. Cup, there's a few winnable games in there. Fulham, Southampton and Burnley should be taking 3 points off. We've got a fancy going to see and maybe getting something.
Stephen, you say we should be taking 3 points off them. We should have took 3 points off Newcastle and we got nowhere near 3 points. Based on what do we take 3 points off them? I'm not confident we take 3 points off any team now based on that. So I hope we do. I don't want to sound too negative, but I wouldn't be looking at any single game between now and the end of the season, any single game and say, that's a banker, we'll be all right with that one. We've got no right to have that attitude based on what we've just seen. The players clearly have that attitude and it's just bit them on the ass.
Yeah, I think the players were way too complacent today, and Seamus Coleman's going to come on and Seamus and stuff like that. He's going to do his typical thing. But the reason I'm saying that, Paul, is that I'm hearing it like,
if he does come out and give this rallying call, I don't want to see any more of people giving him little blue hearts saying my captain or what a fella, blah 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 blah. He does this after every single one, and he's one of the worst offenders. I don't want to see any more of that crap where just because a player comes out and he says a few things in an interview afterwards, players were all suddenly willing to forgive them and go again. We've got to get rid of that attitude. We've got to be more holding people to account. I don't mean getting overly nasty and tweeting abuse at people. That's going too far. But we've got to just stop being so wishy-washy as a fan base and letting people off with things that they shouldn't be being left off with.
Yeah. It's getting annoying that the players seem to, and what's even more annoying about it is I find it quite patronising, Paul, because the players know something's wrong, but they don't do anything to fix it. And if Seamus Coleman was so bothered about it, he'd probably say to Ancelotti, I can't do it anymore. I'm not the same player I used to be. Play Mason Holgate there, because he was absolutely that. It was embarrassing watching him today. It made me cringe at times. It was like looking at an old dog that just needs to be put down. We'll read some more comments out. Jab says, why did we have 2 keepers on the bench and 1 less sub than Newcastle? Squad depth, mate. That's it. We don't have enough players. In the summer, Erwin Koeman says, where do we need to sign players? I think we need a right back. I think we need a good goalkeeper. I think we need wingers. What do you think, Paul?
We talked about this in the pre-match. We need all of that you just mentioned. We need another striker. We need another midfielder. And we probably just need some filler that we can put on a bench. Just who are not kids, basically, and are not just players we're never going to throw on. We're just there for the sake of being there. What have we got Virginia on the bench for? What have we got Ellis Sims on the bench for before he went out on loan? We know full well he's not going to use them, whether people think he should or not. You shouldn't just be... I don't want to go back to the David Moyes days where we were just putting academy kids on the bench who are only there because we just literally need to fill the seat. We need every single player who should be on the bench should be a player who you'd feel confident of putting on in the game if the situation calls for it, and that's just not the case, is it?
Yeah. Nicholas Smile says it's an Everton tradition to lose braces against relegation teams, so I wouldn't guarantee any win. Yeah, I agree with that, Nicholas. I'm just pointing out games that I think we need to be looking at in the next couple of months that we need to be getting 3 points from. This was one of them today, and we didn't do it. Simple as. James Brinkley says, one unpopular opinion, we should cash in on Richarlison in the summer to become an apparent. We are desperate for investment in other areas, and the money we could get would improve the squad. What do you think, Paul, on that one?
No, personally. I know Richarlison's form's been really, really bad as of late, and a lot of people are pulling their hair out, but I think looking to move him on isn't the right idea. I'd only want to sell Richarlison if he was banging the goals in, and we just got some sort of insane offer from an elite club like a Real Madrid or someone of that nature. But moving him on just because you think he's not good enough, I think that's just cutting your nose off to spite your face. Really, he is absolutely good enough. We know he's good enough.
Yeah.
We've seen what Richarlison can do. He's just in a bad run of form, and I do agree that if we had the options, I'd bring him out the team for a period to hopefully get his form back. But moving him on just because you think he's not good enough, I just think that's a really daft idea.
Yeah, I'm with Paul on that one. I think we should try and keep our best players, and he's one of our best players. So, Erwin Koeman, thanks for joining the stream again, mate. He's been in the last few streams. Dom needs help. Simple. That's his comment. Yeah, I agree with that one. Dom needs more service. That's probably why we should be trying to sign more wingers in the summer, because you look at that today. Iwobi didn't really play on the wing. Richarlison, his service was rubbish. Dean's crosses were rubbish. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin does need more help, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was the player I felt sorry for the most, because what can he do when no one's getting forward to support him? James is meant to be basically the unofficial number 10, wasn't he? He had the free role in the team. He should be getting close to him and out and linking up. He didn't do that at all. He kept dropping deep to get on the ball and getting fouled for his trouble. Sigurdsson offered absolutely nothing. I don't think he picked an half-decent pass all day. Couldn't even do the basics for most of it. Dean was below par, as we've mentioned. His crosses were not up to the usual standard. And Iwobi, a lot of people will go mad at Iwobi, saying he was terrible as well. I think he could have done a lot more, but I would have liked to see him get on the ball a bit, because at least he went past players a couple of times and he looked like he was getting his head up and trying to get someone to come close to him so he could create. It was a really poor lineup from Ancelotti. I love the fella to death, but we praise him. We praise him when he gets his tactical setup spot on, and we've got to be fair and criticise him when he gets his tactical setups wrong. And he's done it away at Newcastle, and he's done it at home to Newcastle now, where just the team he's picked was just really, really not the team to go with, and we paid the price for it.
Erwin again there saying we need better players to help the team. Yeah, 100% we do. Jab saying Jonas Lossell leaving is 43k off the books a week. Yeah, and we need to reinvest that I think, soon, because we need more players that are going to be give us a bit more squad depth.
Be surprised if he was on that much.
Sorry, no idea what say something. Nicholas again says, I don't think I've ever seen Sigurdsson run. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Sigurdsson run either. He's great at pointing, but that's about it, isn't it?
I've said all I want to say on him. I'm trying very, very hard not to go over the top and to just call him every name under the sun.
I won't push you too much on Sigurdsson, mate, because I'm the exact same. I can't stand him.
I can't stand the fella, and the day he leaves the club, I'll feel like the day he sacked Martinez. It's just something I'm dying to see come to pass, and it can't happen a day soon enough. I just want him gone.
They all need to take a good look at themselves. Yeah, I agree with that, mate. They all need to take a good look at themselves, but there's certain players who we can keep and there's certain players who aren't going to do it in the future. So we need to get rid of a couple of players, but every single player in that team today needs to take a good look at themselves. We missed, in my opinion, I think it would have been a good opportunity to play Dean on the wing again and put Ben Godfrey, because Godfrey's been great and he's been dropped there for a more... I think Ancelotti expected them to sit back a little bit more than he did and not to have as much of a go. So I think Dean got caught doing a bit too much, and I think it would have helped to have him a bit further forward with Godfrey in. What do you think?
Yeah, we were saying in the pre-match build-up that, where I was anyway, that I wasn't against Godfrey coming off the team and getting a rest for a couple of days. But it's probably proven to be the wrong decision. It's not the most obvious error that he, but I think if he had played, then they wouldn't have had anywhere near as much joy hitting us on the counter that they did. And I think they did sit in for the first half an hour or so. We were having the far better of it, and we were having all the possession. I think when they realised that our midfield was just so weak and that they could walk through us, they actually had the confidence to come out and play a bit of football because they realised there's no one in the midfield who's going to tackle them. That's all it was. As soon as they had the confidence to realise that there's nothing to fear from this Everton side, they're just trying the same thing over and over again, and it's not working. They felt comfortable to come out and basically just take the game to us, and they've got the 3 points that they deserved.
Yeah, I think towards the end of the first half, like you said, we were having a bit more of the ball and we were having a few chances. It felt like it was just a matter of time before we were going to score, and we came out in the second half with the exact same mentality we came out in the second half against Leicester with: sit back and wait for something, and then teams will just get on to that. Teams will start, tearing you apart if you play like that. You can't do that every week. You can't be coming out in the second half and just waiting for an opportunity like that. I think we needed to throw caution to the wind a little bit more, because that second half was abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And I think it would have just been a better option for us. I think we just needed to come out and have a bit more of a go, basically.
Well, again, that falls on the manager. I mean, I really love Ancelotti, and he's got it right far more often than he's got it wrong, and he's brilliant. But that sort of attitude, whatever he's saying to them at half time, it's clearly not the right thing, or he's saying the right thing and they're not listening. Because the second half, it was just more of the same of what wasn't working, and he's got to stop being so loyal to players who are letting them down time and time again. And I really, really hope that Marcel Brands has got an idea in the back of his head, and he is looking to just do some form of business to get a player in. Because if we're going to just go with this the rest of the season, top 4, forget it. Top 6 is very, very doubtful, and I wouldn't be holding my breath for doing anything in the cup either.
Jay Michael says Leeds are going to back that team is on the pitch. Yeah, I agree with you. Leeds will look at that and they'll know where the holes are in the team, and they'll know where to hurt us, because they did at home. Hopefully we polish our act up before Wednesday. We can't blame Pickford for this one. Yeah, I thought Pickford was okay in the first half. Didn't do too much really wrong. I expected them to be a bit worse against Newcastle of all teams, but we can't blame Pickford for that one. But finally, there's other players that we can hang out to dry. Adam P has really let go in the chat there. Sigurdsson was pathetic. Richarlison looks awful. Dean's crossing was atrocious. No idea why Godfrey was benched. Simple, mate. You've put our half an hour live stream down into one comment there. Be awful. Too much not right. Too many players not at it. Matty Flynn being very active in the chat. Carlo was trying to change the mentality of the players, which is seeming to be some task. Yeah, I think that's where it's going to be. Where Ancelotti's job is. I think he needs to bring more of his players in, and once he has, I think we'll improve. But
you're not going to change.
There's too many players in there from past that not pulling it.
You're not going to change the mentality of the players, though. Really,
sorry, Paul. Go on.
You're not going to change the mentality of the players, really, when you keep persevering with players on giving opportunities to people who let you down over and over and over again. I know he might feel like his hands are tied because the squad's so thin, but there's certain people who keep getting picked and being allowed to stay on the pitch when they're playing awful, who should be dragged off and made an example of. And that tells the players who you do want to build around and keep here for the long term, Christ, I can't do what he's doing over there because look what's happened to him. If I let myself, my levels drop to his levels, or I carry myself the way he's carrying himself, then I'm going to get turfed out as well, and I don't want that. You need to lay the law down a little bit and maybe make an example of somebody. And there's a lot of players there who deserve to be made an example of, and we need to see it happen, because it's not this Everton that mentality is not going to change whilst we keep doing Everton that things, e.g. sticking with players who are not good enough, being too loyal, not having a ruthless streak, and just saying to somebody, you don't belong here, you're crap, get lost.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. There's too many players just, I think, not expecting to. They know probably their performances have been not good enough. They know that they can probably get away with them as well. But yeah, I think we've covered everything. I think, Paul, we've if we talk about it for too long, we'll go mad, mate, because there's just so much rubbish to pick through. It's going to be hard to really dissect the problem. I think the only thing we can do now is to brush ourselves off and try and win the next game. That's simple enough. Anyone out there you thought had a good game? I thought Decore was good in the first half. I thought Michael Keane was decent. But no one I really would. I think no one I'd go, yeah, he was the saving grace today. What do you think, Paul? Anyone?
No one who got more than a 5 out of 10, really. I mean, you could give Keane and Mina an average score. I think they didn't do too much wrong. And I've said I personally felt Iwobi was at least trying when he got on the ball. Maybe not everyone agrees, but there was just a lot of players who really underperformed there. And I think it was just a lot of things going wrong at once. The referee was pathetic. He's another one who shouldn't be getting anywhere near a Premier League game again based on that. But you can't blame him. He's not the reason we've lost there. He's not helped us in any way, shape or form. But there's just too many players who went on the pitch today with the wrong attitude, or went on the pitch and just displayed the same attitude that we've seen from them for ages, which is unless it's easy for me, then I'm not going to bust the gut and perform.
Adam P says Calvert-Lewin was today. Didn't get enough space, Adam. That's pretty much it. Jagger says, what should Dom do to get rid of the goal drought? Score more goals. That's pretty much top and bottom of it. He needs more service. But yeah, I think we've covered everything, Paul. Thanks for joining me today, mate, because the pre-match one was a lot more positive than this one. But yeah, thanks for joining me, mate.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Yeah. And if you have enjoyed it, guys, make sure you subscribe, like the stream. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at Everton Newsfeed. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.